For all of y'all who don't know, it did start out on the Bronx. What's up, everyone? Harry the Big Dog here. This is the 50-day countdown to the 50th anniversary of hip hop. We're on some episode. We're getting close because we're getting close to August. That much I know. What episode it is, look in the description. Let me do my shout outs. Shout out to Free Agent Radio, Free Agent Soul, and Broadcast Hip Hop. So today, everyone, we are going south. We are going south. Make sure you comment and share these videos. We need everybody to see these things. We have the wonderful El Kersey on here. She is a dual citizen, Philly and South Carolina. But we're going to talk about what it was like back in them days in South Carolina. Like, what did you do? Did you collect dolls? No, we talked offline. You're a doll hater. I was Evil Knievel in the $6 Million Man, and I still got him. I'll show him one episode.
Okay, so let me say this. I love the $6 Million Man. I didn't consider him a doll. The $6 Million with the eyeball in the back of the head.
Yes.
And the Armstrong with the stringy.
The Stretch Armstrong. I got one of them too.
I used to love Stretch Armstrong. I used to like whack people with it.
And them things hurt.
Yes, they do. They were pretty fun. But yeah, so no, I never really was a doll person. They are creepy to me. And okay, so I don't know the name of the movie. All I know is when I used to watch a lot of TV.
Uh-huh.
And there was this movie that came on. A lady and her son had gone out of the country and they came back with this doll. And the doll had a chain on his neck. And when she sat the doll on the table, the chain fell off his neck. And that thing started running around trying to kill them like pre-Chucky.
I remember that movie. I don't know the name of it either, but I remember that movie.
That was a terrible movie.
Nostalgia.
Yes, that was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And I don't like dolls till this day because of that. I mean, I never was a fan before that, but that was a sure clincher.
So, yeah, I guess that is a little scary. So we're talking about what hip hop was like in South Carolina growing up. I know you spent time in Philly, but you also spent time in South Carolina. What was it like that? Did they have any artists that you know, or did you guys listen to, the New York songs?
It's very ironic that yesterday, was it yesterday? Yesterday, I was with Phil Duckett, who is my audiovisual guy. He actually produced one of Nelly's songs and he got like double platinum or something. He gonna be mad that I can't remember. Right. But yeah, so I was in his studio and it was a guy there who he said he was like one of the rappers from South Carolina, like back in the day. I didn't get his name and stuff, but I'm sorry, y'all. But
please remember the movie Trilogy of Terror.
Oh my gosh!
That was it.
That was a terrible movie.
That was a horrible. We just got thrown off. We did a squirrel.
Yeah, of course. So I do know that they did have. Okay, so you know how it is when you come from an area where excellence is happening. You're not looking in other places for it to be there in a different capacity, right?
Right.
So you remember how we used to sneak to New York. Okay, so we could go hang out, and it was really so. Okay, so I'm gonna tell all my business. How about that?
Now, right?
Okay. All right, so here we go. So we used to sneak to New York so that we could, because my girlfriends were like, they want to meet this person, want to meet that person. I didn't know who they were, but I was the only person really who could navigate how to get us from Philly to New York and back without our parents getting in. That's
Right.
that's that's the benefit of having a nerd for a friend, right? So I was always the person that was like the logistics person to make sure that we got in and got out without getting in trouble. Okay, that's one. But I was never really because I don't like crowds and stuff. I really couldn't get into what was going on. So over the years, like I met like Big Daddy Kane and I met LL Cool J and stuff like that. And so I was telling you the first rap song that I ever learned, right? So that was
You want to sing it at the end?
I can tell it to you. It don't matter. But that was but that was because okay. So my girlfriend Tanisha, she wanted us to be rappers. So we were. I think David named us QTMCs, right? Y'all,
Aw.
do I even look like I could be? Do I sound like I could be a rapper? No. Okay.
Hey,
And
there's a
so
lot of them out there with that raspy voice, and it sounds so dope.
well, not back then. It was hardly any girls that were rappers,
Yeah.
remember? And so if you wanted to be a rapper, you had to be real hard and you had to be willing to say stuff that I would know my dad would chop my throat out
For
for if I
real.
even tried to utter those things in public, right? So that really wasn't a possibility. And then so because I'm from Philly, then okay, so you know how it was. Everybody wanted to be a rapper or a dancer, and everybody got the cardboards laid out and doing the spinning
Yeah.
and all that. And
Oh,
then
pop locking. Everybody was break dancing.
yes, everybody was. And then it didn't and then it kind of became like more of a mainstream thing. And then I
Yeah.
don't know if anybody knows DJ Master Vic. He used to be in Philly and then he went to Europe. And that was the last I heard of him
No.
performing. So I grew up with this dude named Bernie who used to live on my street. So Bernie was with Vic, and so then they used to battle Will Smith, and so
Oh, Jazzy Jeff and all of them.
yes, yeah. So like the because they went to my rival high school,
Hmm.
so and so and Will used to go with my girlfriend's sister, so he would ride his bike, and it was just we were kids. It wasn't
Yeah.
like anybody was famous at that point. And I remember they got this yellow SUV. I believe that it was a Bronco, and they used to drive it around all the time. So, that was kind of how all that went down. But there
Ah,
was so much going on. Like, you would always hear somebody was having a house party, then this DJ show
yeah.
up, or this rapper show up, or stuff like that. But it never was. So in South Carolina, because I was always with my parents, right?
Right.
So I wasn't allowed to have a social life because we were so close to Georgia. And what was going on in Georgia at that time was very dangerous for children. So
Crazy.
yeah, so my parents are like, no, we need to know exactly where you are, who you're
I
with.
I know one time I was out in South Carolina in Sumter, and we went to but this was back in the 80s. And we
Hmm.
went to this beat up barn. It looked like if somebody leaned on it too hard, it was gonna fall over. But that's where
Hmm.
they were doing the party at.
Yeah, but that's kind of how it always was. Like, because you guys. Okay, so I know you don't want to talk politics, but this is just part of the life, right? It's part of the story.
Right.
So everything was segregated, even in Philly, right? Everywhere, everything was still segregated. So you have, even though it wasn't like you can't come here,
Right.
it's more like we don't expect you and we don't want you here, right? So you're in a situation where, are you going to try to force yourself into their space, or are you going to get your own? So then we had the underground in Philly, and we did a lot of house parties, a lot of block parties. Oh my gosh, I mean, if there was a block party, it was like it seemed like a million people
Every
there.
day, right?
And yes, yes, and it didn't matter. It was like people wanted to get people wanted to get their message out. They wanted to get in front of people. They wanted to be on stage. They wanted the mic. I mean, it was like, give me the mic, give me the mic, give me. It was just crazy, and it was a big. Um, it was a big deal, right? Because it's like, instead of people being, dope dealers or whatever, everybody was trying to get away
Everybody
from
was.
that, right? And it's like, you a rapper or a baller, right? Or
uh
your parents got you on a track, you going to college, right? To get
yeah.
away from all that. So
Did they have that in South Carolina at any time that you remember?
what?
The people that just went and wanted to be rappers,
Oh
or
my
because I don't
gosh,
remember
yes.
any group or any rappers from the South Carolina area.
You know, there were people, and there still are people that want to be musicians, rappers, all kinds of things here in South Carolina. There's just no sound. Like, South Carolina doesn't have its own sound. It doesn't have a
Oh,
collective, right?
gotcha.
So you have a lot of musicians that are very popular that are actually from South Carolina. I'm sorry, I can't think of who. And a lot of actors and a whole lot of football players, right?
Right.
That are from, yeah, yeah, from this area. So uh, there's a few of them. I can't think of none of them, but
Now,
sorry, y'all. But
before we get out of here, what music did South Carolina take to the East Coast music, New York, Philly, Jersey, or Midwest and West Coast?
I would say that it was more of a combination, right? Because South Carolina is so central. You can be anywhere in 4 hours from South Carolina. And you have a lot of people who move from the north. So you have a lot of like New Yorkers and a lot of New
Yeah,
York influence, but it's so close to Florida, you're going to have all that Florida influence as well. I don't know
right,
about West Coast. I don't think West Coast really was that influential because it's so far away, like California, whatever. And nobody really knew any. I don't think that any of the people in South Carolina really knew. They knew what was happening around us, right? But it took it took Ice Cube and all them to and NWA to like highlight what was really happening and put it
yeah,
into context so that people, because you think, okay, so the police are always bothering me, not the police are always bothering us, right? And so then when that came out, when NWA came out with F the Police, it was a whole big like, it's happening to other people too. I thought it was just me, right? And so then it became a whole movement. And then by the time when the 80s came, because like I think rap really started like in the 70s, and then it became a thing in the early 80s. But by the late 80s is when the whole homogenous conversation of the black community started talking about, okay, this is happening in New York and in the South and on the West Coast. This is a continental situation. And we need to have some serious conversations about what's happening. And so
and
then it became, yeah,
that's how the gangster rap started to happen
yeah,
because
because
they
they're
talked
like, it's
about
not, yeah,
what's going on.
exactly. And it really was. I mean, even though I know don't want the political thing, but it really was a political movement by the youth at that time. It was, look, this is happening to us. They're stopping and frisking us for no reason. They're putting us in jail without telling our parents where we are. They're doing all kinds of stuff to us, and we don't have any recourse because nobody believes us.
Right.
So
And
then,
it happened
huh?
more than people know.
Right. And so then, as the theme became more homogenous, And it's not just in the South. People thought segregation and racism was just in the South. Well, then people in the North are like, look, this stuff is happening to us too. And then when so you got I think NWA was kind of like a highlight because they were so like raunchy with it, and they're like, look, I don't care
Yeah.
what y'all say, this is what's happening. And then everybody else is like, yes, this is what's happening. So then it became, so now because they were the last piece of the country to join the movement, so to speak, it was like, okay, now we got to open this up because our parents start believing us that, we
Uh-huh.
didn't do anything. So you got like, because you got to think all the stuff that was happening in the 60s and 70s, they're like, oh, we marched and it's over, right? It's segregation's over. And then the parents are like, no, no, it's, the kids are like, it's not over. And then so you get in trouble with the police and you're like telling your parents, this is not what they lying on me. And your parents like, they ain't lying on you, whoop your butt and
You
stuff.
did this.
Exactly. And it's like I did not. So now you just caught in this stew of the police lying on you, your parents don't believe you, and even if they do believe you, they have to act like in front of the police that they don't believe you so that you can get out of the
You
situation
can
because
get
they think
out
they're
of
gonna
there.
take care of it at home.
And
Right?
rap music exposed all of it. And
Yes.
we're gonna leave it at that. Let's
Okay.
go out with our favorite song.
Okay. Ready? One, two, three.
Wait,
Stop
wait, wait.
bugging the
Go
stop.
ahead, sing it.
You forgot the
Stop bugging the brother said dig him, I never dug him, we couldn't
Look, I
follow
couldn't
leader
follow
long
the
enough,
nigga
so
long
I
enough, so I
drug him.
drug him. It's a
Ah!
danger zone. He should have raged. So I was down. That was the bomb.
Yo, this is Harry the Big Dog. I'm here with Hip Hop L. And we are out. We'll see you